Hello, hello.
Hello.
You can tell this is not Tanya. That's Tara. Tanya is having like a really amazing neighborhood cleanup today in Oakland. And so could not be here. And Tara said she would fill in. So thank you. And also thank you, Tanya, for doing the work that our government should be doing, aka cleaning up our streets.
Yeah.
You know, I love Tanya so much. She's just always reminding me how much I'm not doing. It's just like I'm like, okay, let me get up and do something. All right. All right. You're going bike riding. I guess I can take a walk. Okay, you're cleaning like you're like cleaning a whole neighborhood. I guess I can clean up in front of my house. Like, you know what I mean? It's just um
I
we
mean, that's how I feel about you and Tanya, because I live in the ivory tower, so we're not doing anything. We feel like we're doing stuff. We feel like we're doing so much. We're changing the world, and we're not doing anything. And people get mad at me when I point that out.
I think the work is really important. I think, scholar leaders are important as well. Yeah. How was your week?
It was all right. Like summer school has started, and we're like accelerating all of the 20th century into 6 weeks, and so it's usually 10 weeks, so you appreciate the 10 weeks more because we're on the quarter systems at UC's, because we're big STEM schools, and apparently quarters work best for them.
Okay.
So yeah, we have these 10-week quarters, and then summer session is only 6 weeks because it's like 12 weeks of summer. And so we're doing that, and they have their midterms. Sometimes my screen goes out. Am I still on camera?
You are. You are.
Cool. It's just my computer screen. I got like one of those open box ones because it was like $80. Always get an open box at Best Buy. Sometimes it'll go out. But anyway, no. So I'm doing that. And then I was like, I'm in my Tracy Quarter rom-com era watching Red, White, and Royal Blue. I watched it to mock it. I wanted to hate it. It is so cute. There's plenty of stuff to still be like the most unbelievable thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
the plot is that the son of the American president Uma Thurman falls in love with the Prince of England,
Mhm.
and I wanted to mock it. I was like, this is gonna be ridiculous, and it was so cute. The most unbelievable thing about the whole like issue is like a Democratic female president trying to flip Texas with her openly bisexual son.
Yeah, okay.
Um, but I mean, besides that, it's so cute. It stars two of the actors from the movies I hate the most on Netflix. So I was very surprised I was ready. It's
Okay.
the dude chick should have went with in Kissing Booth too. And he's playing the American president's son, and the dude from Purple Hearts, which I actually use in my interracial intimacy course of like how Hollywood trashes that. But they were so cute together. And so I recommend, and that's pretty much been my entire week, just rewatching that film.
That's amazing. I have now gotten into, so I'm like trying to like watch things I never watched, like, so right now I'm into Alias. One of the things
Ooh.
I'm going to talk about is like our favorite kind of plot twist. And I came up with that because Alias has had me, it's so good. Jennifer Gardner, you know what? I didn't understand how like I stand her from 13 going on 30. You know what I mean? So I stand her
Yeah.
as like a rom-com queen. I did not know that she was giving the way she was giving an Alias. If y'all watch Alias, please tell us in the comments. Sandra was already into it. So Sandra's like very excited to see how I'm into it. Like I love love Victor Garber. Like that's my like gay white uncle, okay? Like nobody can tell me differently. I love him. I love him. I love him. So like to see him in this role has been really great. Jennifer Gardner and like the kind of dude who like so it's like did you watch Alias when it was on?
I watched the first two seasons
Okay.
and then
Okay. So I was like, I had no idea what was going on, and like I didn't know what was going on. I was like, Bradley Cooper was in this? I was like, what's going on here?
That's what you were doing in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I thought you were gonna come out of nowhere. Okay, cool. I thought you the first thing I knew about you was the hangover, I guess. You was doing something before that. Um, like, and then Michael Vartan, ugh, the Kim is the Kim is the Kim with him and
I
Jennifer
love
Garner.
I love that he's French in real life.
Listen, and he has aged well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I'm into it. I'm deep into season 3 now. So please no spoilers, but if you watched Alias, please tell us in the chat in the comments because I'm in it. I am in it and I feel very ready for it. And I think about this all the time with like primetime shows. I feel ready for it because I'm a soap fan.
I agree. If you like twisty shows, if you haven't watched this, you may have because you like Joshua Jackson, but Fringe.
Love Joshua Jackson. Let's be
Yeah.
really clear about the love I have for this man.
Have you seen Fringe?
I have, oh, you know, I've seen everything Joshua Jackson's ever done in his whole life.
Okay, well then later on when we're not talking about GH, we're gonna talk about Fringe because it's like top five, one of my favorite shows.
Okay. I need to actually, that's on my next thing to rewatch. So I'm doing Alias, then I'm gonna do Suits, and then I'm gonna rewatch Fringe. Because
It holds up.
I didn't finish Fringe.
You know what? They stick that landing. I
Okay.
was very surprised because I was pissed about season 4 as well. They stick that landing. If
Okay.
you rocked with them the entire time,
Okay. I mean, I don't know if I've ever told this story about Joshua Jackson on the show, but you're gonna hear it now. So like back in my like pre-COVID like activist days, like a lot of, like after Trump was elected, a lot of like celebrities wanted to do stuff. They were like, we wanna whatever. So that's like how I ended up like meeting a bunch of people and like doing work with them. And some of them I really love, and some of them no. I really love like Mark Ruffalo, for example. Like he's amazing, and would rock with him forever. There are other people who are not the same. So anyway, we did this like families belong together rally in LA. Now, mind you, I wasn't used to doing LA stuff. I mean, LA. So I like shocked that they like had created a backstage. I was like, what is this? Now, mind you, I'm one of the organizers. So I like get there and like I have to like drop who I'm with and whatever, and I get my credentials and I get there. I'm like, wait a second, is this a backstage?
yeah, go to the green room.
We're outdoors. How did you create a backstage outdoors? So this is what I meet so many celebs, and it's also part of the reason I feel a way about the ALS story, because my friend Adi has ALS, and so he was like one of the organizers of this rally with like like whatever. So he's like movement famous, so there's all these celebrities who kind of wanted to meet him too. So we like, and I know everybody. I'm very like not as good as pop culture as our friend Britt, but like pretty good at pop culture. So I'm like, that's that too from Black Eyed Peas. That's this person, that's that person, whatever. So like, we're talking, and then we meet Chadwick Boseman, whole nother story. He was amazing. And which is why I'm like Chadwick forever. And then like we're just like walking around doing stuff, like celebs everywhere, like Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. Like people are just literally everywhere because when it's an activist moment in LA, all of the people just like show up. And what I loved about Chadwick was that he just like wasn't trying to be like in the spotlight. He was just like, whatever you need. He took pictures with kids, he doing whatever. We meet people from Jane the Virgin. So we meet Rogelio de la Vega, who I loved. He's very nice. And then I like lose my phone. Now, mind you, we're about to go on this like RV trip for 7 weeks. This is the first stop. So I lose my phone. I was like, oh my God, I can't find my phone. I'm like looking in like big bags. I love a big purse. So I'm looking around. All of a sudden I look up and there is Joshua Jackson. I gasp. I gasp and I drop my bag. And I'm typically pretty good about like not caring about celebrities. Like if you're not Beyonce, I'm not really going. So I walk up to him because I'm like, I gotta say something. And I was like, hi, my name is Tracy. I'm one of the organizers of this event. I hope that you're like, I don't even know what to say because it's like a rally. It's like for something sad. So like, I can't help you enjoy yourself. So I'm just awkward with him. He was like, oh, like, thank you for putting this together, blah, 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 blah. So nice. Starts talking to me. And I cannot find my phone again. So one of my friends is there. I'm like, Julia, could you come over here? And so I'm telling him, I was like, you need to know that I've loved you my whole life. And he kind of like is like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he must have thought I was gonna say from Dawson's Creek. And I was like, listen,
Mighty Ducks.
obviously I'm a Pacey fan, but I need you to know I'm like old school Charlie Conway. And he just like beams from ear to ear. He's so nice. He ends up like taking a selfie with me, like a picture with me my friend took because I didn't have my phone. Thankfully I found it. Like and I ended up hanging out with him for like half an hour. It helped because Kendrick Sampson, who is actually like very down and does a lot of really good work. I had done some work with him, so he like walked past and was like, "What's up, T?" and like speaks, and like all the people who are with him speak. So I think it made me look cooler than what I was. It's like he's like, "Oh, she knows all these celebrities." I didn't. I knew the one, and so yeah, I just like hang with Joshua Jackson for like 30 minutes. We were just like chopping it up. He's very nice. So then when everything's done, because me and Sandra are both huge Pacey / Joshua Jackson fans. So I call Sandra. I'm like, Sandra, I just need to make sure that you're next to your phone. I'm about to text you something, and when you get it, call me back. So I text Sandra like both of these pictures, and they call me back like screaming, like, oh my God. Anyway, super long story, but I have to tell everybody who needs to know, and everybody needs to know that I met Joshua Jackson. Very unrelated to General Hospital. Nothing like General Hospital, but I met
Well,
Joshua.
the Mighty Ducks were Disney,
True.
so you know that was that franchise where like you liked the relationship between the kid and the coach that you started shipping the coach with the kid's mom. You're like, well, now you got to bang his mom, so you guys can be a
Obviously.
family.
But then like you look back at the premise, like, what the hell was this?
Yeah, it's like some like drug addict who got put around some kids.
Like, he got caught drunk driving and it wasn't even like court ordered. His boss ordered him to like do what?
You gotta go coach some kids. Used to be a good hockey player, right? How do
Before
you
you were
know?
traumatized by this one hockey play that is like haunted you your whole life.
Which
Anyway,
is why you need good supportive family. We learned that in Inside Out.
truth. We did learn that. Look at Disney teaching us everything.
Hmm.
Well, what they did not teach us was how to write a good soap this week. But I was like telling Tara, like, this has become, I love podcasting. I love talking to Tanya every week. I love like when people leave stuff in the comments for us. Obviously love any and every time Tara comes through. But like this is like becoming such a chore because watching has become such a chore. Like we started the show because we loved Sprina. We were like, yes, like this young, fresh couple. And we'll talk more about that later in the show. Um, you ready for what I actually was able to get in as a recap?
Yeah, because I don't even remember what happened. The only thing I remember that happened, I'll bring up when you ask. And I didn't even finish Wednesday because I have meetings on Wednesday. And then I saw a lot of Nina, and I was like, oh, I don't need to be a part of that.
Mhm.
So I look forward to this recap from what was Soap Central.
Yeah, I just have like bullets. Okay. Valentine and Sunny talk Pikeman. Sunny tells Valentine he won't be cooperating anymore until Pikeman finds out who shot at him. Not shot at him when Curtis got shot, but shot at him that first time. Dante is starting to get more suspicious of Valentine, and their conversations lead Anna to think that Val might be getting blackmailed about Charlotte.
Vality is 1,000% bitch made, but we'll get into it.
Ugh, it was rough. Um, Olivia and Ned as Eddie Main. I can't just be calling him Eddie Main, but and Ned as Eddie Main start to get closer, and he serenades her with a song he's been working on.
It's Wally Kurth as Edward, Ned Quartermain as Eddie Main.
Did you listen to the lyrics of the song that he wrote?
Yeah, he was deep in his like Spies mom from That's So Weird era.
But it also,
Rebecca moves across. Like,
but it was also like a girl in the shadow kind of thing that felt like he was talking about Nina. Like he was just like, she chased me, or like, I don't. It was something like that felt like it was referring to what happened right before he fell. Anyway, go back and listen to the song.
I
Um,
don't want to.
Gladys decides that she has gone too far with Sasha, and that the drugging and gaslighting must end after she sees her in person.
Okay.
Doctor Needs to Die, I don't know his name, tells Gladys that he will stop doing his evil thing when Gladys gives him $50,000. Meanwhile, Hat Daddy and Miss Wu face off, with Hat Daddy telling her that her illegal poker game at the Savoy are done. Let me preview my favorite moment. Hat Daddy snapping and doing the thumb back to Miss Wu.
I love it. He's in his mobbed mob club donor era, I guess. Proud of him.
Gladys asks for more time to pay her debt to Miss Wu, and Selena says she's closing her books on the poker game, and that means she needs her money now. And you know what? I kept that clip because I'm gonna start sending it to people who are late with my invoices. Um, Desperate, Gladys goes to Deception because she can't sell Sasha's stock. And we find out the Deception is being sued by an unnamed LLC, and none of the owners can sell stock. She also like flips out and was like, "Fix it now! I need money!" And that is in no way suspicious. Somehow BLQ just now realized that the corporate espionage she did for Tracy would mean something bad for Deception. And she flips over a game of backgammon and they have words. Gregory tells Finn and Liz he has ALS.
Everyone but Chase.
Tells everybody but Chase. Somehow a day player gets more screen time and words than Jake. And Gregory compares his ALS to this kid not being able to play the cello. That happened. Cody is pretending to be crazy, poorly, so he can get committed to Ferncliff. He asks for Sam's help.
Can you just check someone into Ferncliff? It's a freaking impossible for the criminally insane.
I thought it was court ordered.
Yeah, like how are you just like, this is my friend, he needs to be here. Your friend? How long have you known this man?
Austin knows Nicholas is alive. Plot twist. And Austin and Mason are working for Cyrus. Another plot twist. And there are strong implications about the relationship between Austin's mom and Cyrus.
He gave Cyrus a lady. I guess that's why he didn't want to bang Sasha. He just wanted to be his coked out friend.
Willow tries to return to work. Liz tells her she needs a clean bill of health. Molly and Christina continue to beef, though I thought they dropped the beef. Felicia was inspired by Stella, and she may become a patient advocate. I think that's all I typed. That's also because my wrist hurts. So there might have been more that happened, but that's all I typed down. Because my wrist hurt. Oh, Ava talks to Portia. Trina working back at the gallery now. Jordan goes to visit Curtis, where his physical therapist It's all about her. Which, you know what? Thank you. Dex goes to visit Book in Pentonville. There's also a crew reunion at Pentonville.
They had Carly blending into the walls at Penton. It was upsetting. I tried to get her a better blazer.
Nina is upset. So Sonny tries to give Nina some hush jewelry. This is such a chaotic episode already. Some hush jewelry. And she won't hush. And she's upset that she does not know more. Yeah, that's all I got. How did you feel about the week? What was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment was the shocking recast of Comet. Comet is now black. And everyone's got to live in that universe. I love diversity. They really switched that horse out. Thought we would not notice when we noticed the moths growing on people's freaking tables. That was amazing because I loved it. I love Valentine getting freaking bitch made by Sonny and his children. Like he went and got read. Like first of all, Sonny called him and he came, and I was like, oh, not coming when you are called. And then Sonny said leave, and he left. He didn't even walk out on him on his terms. Sonny was like, I'm done. And then he went to Dante, and he was like, "Ooh, Charlotte, like, can you talk to me?" And like, I've heard both sides were like, "Oh, well, he was insane. I don't care. He got bitch made by Dante. Dante said, I'm not gonna do anything. Get out of my house. Like, bring your child back from this play date you're taking her on, since I'm raising her now." I was like, ah! Not Valentine just taking hit after hit from the Corinthians fucking faction of this show. Like,
in my head fan fiction about like my in real life fan fiction behind the scenes, it was Mo being like, they love James Patrick Stewart too much. Vanna's too popular. I thought that was gonna be Sona. We got to give him some hits. That's because it was too absurd all week. I was like, what's going on here?
As somebody who is a Corinthi stan, I loved it. Like, you know, I love Vanna, right? But also, this man is a Cassadine. Don't act like you're better than us. You are not better than us.
I love the Cassadine, so I was like, what is going on here? I remember back in the day when it was still Greg Vaughn's Lucky. You remember Helena came and was like, listen, y'all got to watch out for this Valentine Cassadine. He's the worst Cassadine of all.
And now he's getting told about himself
by Dante. What?
And his daddy.
Lord.
Sonny called him a big boy, and he still had to stand there and take that. He was like, I'm a big boy.
Himself a big boy.
Yeah, himself. I'm a big boy. And he was just like, I gotta stand here.
I want somebody who has more talent than me to superimpose Sonny saying he's a big boy into that SZA song she did for Saturday Night Live. That I need a big boy.
I mean, so that was amazing. Because, I mean, I'm more than confident just how hard they're going with Valentine and making him look so guilty. All of this will be explained. Whether or not I'm happy with that explanation is, you know, neither here nor there. There is an explanation because it's too obvious. They're just throwing him. Like, look at him, he's evil now. Like, of course he's not. But I am enjoying watching him be humbled. What else? Oh, Gladys hiring an evil doctor to torture Sasha and then acting all surprised that he's evil and torturing her. Like, what the hell?
He said that one drugging was enough. We only drug and gaslight a little bit.
I mean,
a lot of it.
It's just wild to me. Like, this whole I mean, besides that, I think like the rest we can do for the rest, but like those are the moments for me. It was like the horse recast, 'cause what the fuck? Nothing matters on this show anymore. It was, yeah, those Valentine moments because they're just like he's getting cooked out here, and I'm really interested to know why. Um, and so side eyeing him until, and then yeah, Gladys just being like, "What? He's we have to stop," and then he'd be like, "You owe me $50,000." He'd be like, "What, sir? You're a doctor." Like he's a doctor who's at an illegal poker game and gives women pills that make them go crazy, and then commits them with the criminally insane. And now you're surprised he's not an up and up guy. Gotta love Gladys. Her the clock's ticking on her.
Yeah. Ugh. Um, I loved um I loved Selena and Hat Daddy. They seemed like you just know the two of them got their script and we're so happy that they were going to be able to play together. Um it's such a it's such it shows how well people can be when you take them out of stupid stories. So like Robert Gosling, such a good actor. He's so great with Stella. He's so great with Portia. When they had him coming, I hated him. I was like, get this man out of here. I hate it. Even though I knew who he was and knew how talented he was, I was like, this is awful. And just moving him out of that orbit and giving him a better story and giving him different people to play with is has just done wonders for his character. So I loved the kind of stare down and the like the playing that him and Selena did. I'm telling you that like snap got me every time when he was talking to her. Um and just like her looking at him like, you don't even know me, but you gonna know me. I really just loved them playing together. Um, I liked Jocelyn being like, I'm reading Grey's Anatomy, but not the movie, or like something about, or something not the show. And I also love people like having a I don't really look at social media too much, but I saw like a headline from like one of the like soap sites or something about Jocelyn and being a doctor and how improbable it was 'cause she's never in school. And I just want to remind people about like Emily. And like we never saw Emily in med school. It was like she was like chasing Nicholas and then she was a doctor.
Willow's only had like 6 hours of training, and now she's trying to get her like assistant head nurse job back. So
Like, come on.
Lulu didn't graduate from high school and she was a journalist. So
It's
why are we?
it's just like the realism that people demand for like certain characters that they don't demand for others. Like we're not gonna see Joss go through 8 years of med school. Joss might be a doctor tomorrow. Who cares?
Tolly didn't go through all them years. They were literally just at PCU, and now they're career people.
I mean, whatever. But I did love Joss by the pool talking crazy to Betty. And then Dex just being like, my girlfriend got a big ass mouth. Let me go kiss her to shut her up. And then Jocelyn was like, I don't really know why he kissing me like this, but I'm going. Like, it was just I really enjoyed those scenes. Yeah, those were kind of like the tops for me. Performer of the week. I mean, I have a couple, I guess. I thought Amanda Seton did amazing as Brooklyn. Um, Specifically the scene where she read Tracy. I felt that. I was like, damn, okay. Um, so I thought she did great there. I think Sophia Matson, anytime she's on screen, amazing. Period. Like she's great. And I know that Portia gets a lot of hate, which annoys me with the writing and with the response. Um, but I think that doesn't take away from how great of an actress and a performer Brooke Carr is. And I think the scenes that she had with Trina, where she was talking about Curtis, were like masterful. Um, and I know that there was like, I think there was some conversation about whether or not like a daughter should be like supporting her mom in that way or like whatever, or like if her mom should have come to her with her problems. And I think for me, I think that Trina is old enough to hear that, um and to like understand a little bit of what's happening between Curtis and Portia when it comes to Curtis's recovery. So I thought those were good scenes. I really liked look, I loved Brooke's subtlety in acting them, and I thought she did a great job. So the three of them for me, Amanda, Sophia, and Brooke, all I think just top tier performers this week.
Yeah, people really liked Amanda, I know, because like it's a lot to stand up to Jane Elliott in the scene. Like
Mhm.
I actually was like fully prepared to be like, "Ooh, Brooklyn, you better run. You in danger, girl." And she really hit her at the end with the like, "No wonder you ain't got nobody. No wonder your son wants to be Eddie Main." I'm like, she came at her. And so, and I felt this, so kudos, because it's hard to be in a scene with like a whole ass like General Hospital legend like that and
Yeah.
not
And legend,
be,
to be honest.
yeah. hmm And so I really liked her. It's interesting. I don't know. I think like it depends on how you were. When it comes to like Trina and Portia, I saw some conversations happening too. I think it depends on how you were raised. Like I was raised with a single mom, and I'm an only child like Trina. And so me and my mom are like extraordinarily close because of that. Like we didn't have buffers between us. She didn't have to like spread her attention across different kids. I didn't have to have like a distraction from her. And so like my mom tells me things and like she has told me things. And I think those conversations matured as I matured,
Yeah.
but we've always been like really really close and like told each other stuff. So I think if maybe if you come from a household where you had a lot of siblings and maybe you weren't the oldest one, or maybe if you like came from like a two-parent household, so like your mom had someone in the household to talk to specifically that's not you, maybe that would be uncomfortable for you. You would feel like, I have friends who grew up in two-parent households and they still feel like they can't talk to their parents about certain things and their parents would never talk to them about those things. Like I have friends who are like, my mom would just talk to my dad about that stuff, not me, or they're her friends or something else. Like it's not what we do. Where my mom would tell me right away.
Mm.
And so that's what I was like, I'm not gonna, because I feel like this is a difference of like how someone grew up and how they're raising their kids. And, there's pros and cons to it, I guess. But I would rather know stuff about my mom, like, especially like Curtis is, I hate this storyline, but like, I guess Curtis is her dad biologically, whatever. He's still a freaking stranger. Like, it's her and her mom, and it's Curtis. And so, like, she's not out here as much as she feels for Curtis. Like, she's Team Portia, no matter what Portia did.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it also is that it is that Portia is in the middle of this story with Sprina that makes her unpopular with the audience. And so, or with some of the audience, with portions of the audience. I think that it's actually really interesting to me that there are people who can see how folks like would rush to dislike Trina, who can't see how people would rush to dislike Portia because she's a Black woman as well. And so I think, is Portia like being annoying with Sprina? Of course she is. I think that it's being written. I'm probably stepping ahead, but who cares? I think it's also being written in a way that's like I just like think back to how Sprina has like the story arc they have given this couple. And I also think, why the hell would Portia like him? So like we're talking, and it's a struggle because I think that one of the things that GH does is like, okay, when something is done, it's done, and then we move on to the next thing, and they don't like weave it in people's characters. And so we are supposed to be annoyed with Portia right now. But for me, I'm like, okay, so let's think about this. When Trina thought Spencer was like against her, with Esme against her, she decided to still hold on to something that could have exonerated her. If a dude, I don't care if I like him or not, came to like the police station and told me that his girlfriend was pregnant and that he believed I did something that's as wild as what Trina was accused of, I'm telling on you that day. So for Portia, she's looking at her daughter like, damn, all of this stuff that you thought of him, and you still were willing to like have everybody else take every other chance besides you telling on him. As a mother, and because we're supposed to forget that happened, or that's not relevant, or like that's not being presented as relevant to the story, because that's how storytelling works, right? You have to remind people of things. GH knows that, which is why they hold back on things, which is why with Esme right now, we're not seeing her in like with the story, or with her calling Spencer for lunch or dinner or whatever. We didn't see her know that he was with Trina and then kind of be cackling about calling him, like, because that puts a different spin on the call. The call is just, oh, she called to see if he was coming home. So in the same way, like, Portia's not getting that kind of edit. She's just getting like this like mean mom who's mean to Spencer edit, as opposed to like reminding people why. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying that it's a part of the story. We talk about it all the time. We talk about like Robin and Stone. Mac didn't like Stone. That didn't make it so that like people hated Mac. It just made it that like this is a part of the story and it's a barrier for them, but it doesn't mean that we're supposed to hate Mac for it. Portia should be like presented as part of the story and a barrier for them, but not a reason to hate Portia.
I mean, the irritating part for me isn't even her talking to Sprina or trying to break up Sprina. Like, the irritating part of this is Portia's overall story is this rewrite and re-spin of like the Curtis relationship and where they're at. Because like it was like, okay, she lied about that. It turns out Curtis was Trina's father. Then he made out with Jordan, and now that's completely been erased. And we're back to being mad at Portia for like lying about Trina. And like Portia's even forgot that he made out with Jordan. I was like, no, 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 no. You don't get to get shot. And that becomes the reason that it's okay for you to make out with your ex-wife. And now we get to go back to like, well, you lied to me about Trina. Like, no. And then it's all like a cover because he's not sure if like he's gonna be happy. Like, that's the thing. Like, her story sucks overall because they've decided that Curtis can't be at fault whatsoever. He's a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so much of a victim that they physically made him a victim. Shot, like, it's so irritating. Like, and I don't understand because Curtis isn't a bad character. Like, he's being written terribly in this situation, but he's not Sonny Corinthos. So I don't understand why he's getting Sonny Corinthos edits.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they do to Sonny to humanize him. They'll shoot him.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they've got Michael back, right? Literally shot him in the back. And now Mike was like, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. So I don't understand. Curtis didn't need that. And to do it makes it that much more irritating. And then you have Jordan, who, like, I'm glad that people are like openly thirsting over Jordan. They should be. And why is Jordan the deputy mayor? She's deputy mayor, right? That's why she's in the good fit now. Giving Curtis PCPD information about someone else's case.
I
And his house
honestly,
burned down.
I honestly want, because it's also like, why are you giving him this information? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't like that in itself. I just kind of want Jordan out of that world. Let somebody say something like, damn, Sasha's like gone as the face of deception right now. We need somebody to step in. It should be Jordan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I want for her. Let's get off of this, whatever they have her doing. We've barely saw her. I'm glad old boy was thirsting after her, even though it was very weird. He was like, is this weird? Yes, it is actually very weird. But
And
whatever,
inappropriate.
super inappropriate, super weird, but okay.
They're at work, sir.
Like, and you're gonna be like, I'm thirsting after your ex-wife. Is that weird to you? Yes, yes. Uh, but also, where's Zeke? Where's her love story? Where is it? Like this thing that is happening, and I know that it gets like focused in on Trina, actually has happened to like Black women and Black characters across the show. And it's for me very frustrating to see like this lack of relationship, this lack of everything doesn't have to be like a big story. Like Jordan is fine as hell. Give her a boyfriend. Let's see her like leaving him with the kiss, and then like the thing about GH is they don't allow people to have like lives that they kind of like live in. Every part of their life has to be a story, or it didn't happen.
And they don't know how to, with Jordan, they keep giving her so much power and like prestige that they're like weirdly zeroing her out of dating options. So like I'm down to see her with like PT guy, and I would constantly be like, why is fine Deputy Mayor Jordan Ashford dating a random physical therapist? Is there no captain of industry that she could date, like those Saudi billionaires out here? Because that's the level she's playing at. But it's weird that they don't do it. I agree. There's sort of like a hyper fixation on Sprina and like the movement of that story. I mean, and I think that they're moving at the pace that people stated that they wanted. There was lots of like,
I
ooh,
never said
slow
it.
burns. I mean,
I've never said it.
I'm it's an interesting sort of thing with like I was really confused
Can I
this
pause
entire
you?
week.
Can I pause you? Because that is my thing, to be quite honest, it's not working. So can I pause you and then can we pick that back up?
Yes.
But
So we're
I'm
gonna do
gonna
what's
throw it
working.
to you and say what is working.
Nothing.
Oh God.
Like, what is working? From like Carly blending into the walls, from like Dex having like 1,000 people to follow in the same day. Like Liz just chilling with the random kid from One Life to Live. Not working at all. Like telling Willow she can't work, but like she's also not working. Like it's just all of it is so weird. Like Felicia wanting to be a patient advocate, girl. I thought you were a private eye. What, like Lucy Coe gives you one job and you're like throwing in the towel? Like, no, this isn't for me. Like Sam and Cody. Like I'm searching through to try to find the story that's working and I can't find it. They recast the horse. How did you lose the horse?
Horse was busy. Yeah, other things to do.
Like with the bearded dragon. Terrible with animals.
Um, I I would also say I don't really think much is working. I am excited that Betty is gone. So like in the soap opera digest, like the comings and goings, Betty is going just as quickly as she came because she's out. Um,
Are we killing her? I would
I
love
don't think
that.
so. I think she's just gone now.
No, I need because like didn't Dex wasn't there like follow her and don't you know what to do? Like I hope we find her body. And then like because you had that moment with Jex where he was like, do you think I killed bro in the alley? And Jocelyn was like, hell no. And so now I need Betty to turn up dead and for her to be like, did you kill that hoe? And him to be like, don't ask me about my business, like Godfather status. Um, give Jack some
But
issues.
I don't know if you watch Modern Family, um, but there was an episode where like the very nice dad Phil had to do a bunch of stuff, and then he was like, "Claire, don't ask me about my business." She was like, "Oh." Don't ever ask me about my business. And then they can't close the door. So when you said that, it reminded me of Phil Dunphy telling people not to
That
talk about his business.
have you never seen The Godfather?
Yeah, of course, of
Oh,
course. But it was like Phil. Anyway, I just watched the episode. Sorry.
for sure. I was just making sure because sometimes I do that. Well, I'll think like this is the reference, and they're like, no, they're doing.
Yeah, no. Of course.
Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, what
Dex is
is
not giving Godfather. Dex is giving more Phil Dunphy. To be quite honest with you.
Dex? I just feel so bad for. He's just been bought by this crime family, by the like rogue members of this crime family into a life of crime. It's not even what he wanted. He's been pussy whipped into crime. The pussy doesn't even want him to do it. Like, because Jocelyn is on none of this. It's just sad. Every time I see him, I'm like, ugh, he is so miserable.
Okay. Um, I also don't have.
Shout out to Jackson.
I don't actually have too much that is working. I um, I don't. I don't know. It's
Laura
not
Wright's
good.
hair is working.
Who?
Laura Wright's hair is working.
Maxie's new hair is working. I
Maxie's new
loved her new hair
hair.
color. That was really cute.
Kelly Kelly Monaco always looks beautiful. Her face is always working. Face card is not declining.
Mhm.
Um,
I liked Ava and Portia having a scene together.
Nina being sad works. Like him, Sunny being like, "Don't ask me about my business." She is so ridiculous. She's just like, she acts like she's dating the quarterback of the football team, who's like not telling her where the cool kids drink beer on the weekend, and instead of like a whole ass criminal to doing crimes.
Oh yeah, I didn't put this in the recap. Her going to Martin, like it's just like, girl, how many times are you gonna talk about this out loud? That's how you're gonna get caught. It's gonna be very anticlimactic because every time I turn around, you're talking about this in full terms. Who's gonna tell Sunny and Carly that I called the SEC? Damn girl, why you so loud?
She needs to stop going to Kelly's. It's weird.
It's very weird. Stop going there. I wanted Carly to be like, "What you trying to eye this to buy it too?"
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here. Also, Sunny touching fries and then Carly serving the fry. I'm like, call the health department.
I know Sunny's acting like he owns the place, and Carly acting like she didn't run a restaurant for 15 years. Like, it's so funny.
Just like talking full over the food.
It's
Out
like-
of here.
Olivia's body was working.
Olivia.
Lisa was the throat.
Mhm, mhm.
Her body, yada, yada, yada was working because she was really like, I'm going to show you Ned Quartermain's wife. This is Ned Quartermain's wife. This is who Ned Quartermain is married to. So
Um, the phone call between Olivia and Monica worked because it's like very clearly giving succession planning.
I know she's gonna give Olivia that house, and
No,
the
she
new
didn't
line's
have a
gonna be
house.
like, "This is my house. Monica gave it to me,"
Eh,
and I love it. I'm ready. Ooh,
yes.
get to what's not working. Nothing's working on this show. Sunny in black sweaters works.
All right, let's get into what's not working. I'll let you go first.
Sprina. Just because it's not even Sprina, it's Spencer. Spencer's ridiculous. Like, okay, you can't tell Valentine Cassadine that Esme is a good mother and then still act like she's gonna sell her baby to like a traveling circus if you don't come home for dinner. Like, what are we doing?
That's
What
not what
is
you
this?
feel like though.
Like, and then they try to make it like, well, she told him, Trina told him that he should go. He should be the one who's like, bitch, kick it with that baby. I'll be home when I'm home. We're not married. Go get a place. Like, get a place to live. Hang out with your girlfriend. Take her out after dinner. This idea that like they're acting like it's his baby. Like they're acting like it's his baby. Remember when Michael took Avery and then he gave her back and then he just went and banged Sabrina all the time? He wasn't just like hanging out with the baby and stuff with like his sister and he's got to worry about his crap dad who's terrible at parenting. No, he was like, I'm giving that baby to Sunny and God and I'm gonna go bang Sabrina. Bye everyone. Like give people that.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Oh,
I
not
mean,
for me, girl. Go to hell. I hated Sabrina. Just an example.
it could be peace or pieces. It's not.
Ooh, Sabrina, how you gonna cheat on him with that bum Carlos to get pregnant and then run away with him? Ooh, I was so glad when Paul Hersey stabbed her.
um, here's what I'll say. What I hated, because I do want to like talk extensively about Spencer, specifically because I've always been a Spencer fan, like since he was a child. The retcon of his childhood was weird.
He missed
Weird.
out. Only the poorest got love in minivans, not me.
I wanted to be a townie. No, sir, you did not. And it also was just like it was like one of those things that just shows you like the chat GPT-ness of like the way GH is written and how I mean, because I want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about what happened with Liz and Jake. Now, you know, I ain't got no love for Liz, and I specifically ain't got no love for Liaison. And I still understand the place that Liz and her kids take up in like the legacy of this show and of these stories. So this idea that they would have Jake come in with his one life to live friend and that kid like get more lines and more like relevance in the story than Jake. I please tell me y'all got Hudson West doing something else because that kid is very talented and he deserves more than whatever this is that y'all are doing.
There was an easy fix to that scene that you could have still used the kid. He could have kept all his dialogue and it would have been less painful. Make him Danny.
Make the
Make
other
him
make
make the one life to live kid Danny.
oh yeah,
Jason
sure.
and Sam's son. Danny and
I know
Jake got a cool relationship. Like I'm saying for the listeners who might not know who the fuck Danny is, like who are like, who's Danny?
because we ain't seen
Um,
it in a long time.
yeah, because they have always seemed to have a really good relationship, and they're very close in age. I think there's only like a year between them, according to Soraz. Like Danny's been Soraz into within age range.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so, yeah, Danny, Jake, and Rocco are all now around the same age. Charlotte is probably like the same age as Jake, and then Danny, Rocco, and are a year younger.
Mm.
And so, like, just make him Danny. He gets shot. There, you don't have Danny on that much anyway.
I thought we
So,
already had a new Danny though. That was a little bit older.
but when's the last time we seen that kid? And they never commit
I don't know.
to they rarely commit to like this is the kid, this is Sam and Jason's kids or Sam's kids in general. They're constantly cycling in new scouts, the new Danny. So it didn't matter. You could just be like the role of Danny Rogan is temporarily being played by if you really wanted that kid to be there. Because you're not gonna have him on screen anyway. And then it makes sense that like why we're hearing about, oh, it's Jake and his brother. Ooh, yay. Make him Aiden or some shit. I don't know. Like, make him someone who
You were trying to
matters.
make it make sense when what they really wanted was that kid to be Wyatt. Like they like to like bring him back and be like, ha ha ha, he's the Boy Scout that like saw Peter and also saw like so you're trying to make something make sense. It's not what they want to make sense. It was just rude. Like I just really I no matter how I feel about characters, I definitely like think that it just felt rude to like the actors and to like the people who are fans of them to just like have Jake come in as essentially a day player that's like second build behind a different day player who's not even legacy. What is going on here? But I say that to say that like even when Spencer was having that conversation with Trina, it what could have been better, what I would have seen as better is like, I remember watching Cam and his brothers with Elizabeth and like wishing that I had a mom like that. It's easy. Not this whole like, whatever, because the reality is Nicholas wasn't a bad father until right before he was awful when he was doing the Drusen stuff and like he was whatever, but he was not awful to Spencer.
Spencer was in on the plan.
Spencer was in on the plan, and Spencer also like at that time, like he grew up with the quad of him, Joss, Cam, and why am I forgetting her name? And Emma. Like that was his friend group. So like to pretend like he didn't have friends or he didn't have anybody, you can like talk about how some things could have been better for him. You could have talked about all of that, but to like erase that he had these people, like even saying, like I remember seeing Joss with Carly, like being able to bring back that history as opposed to just doing this like lazy dialogue, like he didn't have these people in his life. It was just
This is
like,
the issue with the scabs, though, is that like they're relying on a lot of like the vets to like fill in blanks for scab writing and like and like this is not a knock to Nicholas, but like he wasn't the actor who played that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And so, like, and I'm not expecting him. It's really hard to go find GH kid shit on YouTube. So, like, even if he wanted to go do a deep dive into like how Nicholas Special put of that storyline, like, it's really hard to find it, especially in order. And so, like, if you're someone like, Lynn Herring or Laura Wright, or I'm not going to say Maurice Bernard because he don't know, he'll admit that. Even Kelly Monaco, like people who've been on this show for decades, they know their storylines. They know the big points of them. They know the big emotional beats of their story. Because even with like, I can tell like this when Sam brings up her history now, it's very staccato. It's very straight Sam based, and like it's very written. Like I can tell the person. I don't know if they actually went to Kelly Monaco or Nancy, but I can tell the person who's been writing for the Davis girls went back and watched Baby Lila's story.
Mm.
And so you have that writing of it with Sam talking about it, but she's talking about it in the context in which Alexis is not her mother and Christina is not her sister, which makes sense if you only go back and watch that story because Sam hadn't found out Alexis was her mother at that point.
Right.
And so when you're talking about it, you're like, do you remember while you're writing this that like essentially these people will go on to find out that Alexis screamed her granddaughter out of Sam's body? Like that's what she did. Like I'm sorry, Alexis stands. I'll never forgive her. She killed that baby. I don't care what Steven fucking Lars says. Like I saw what I saw. Me and Jason know what happened. If we don't fuck with Alexis.
Listen, yeah, so I just think that, yeah, I think that everything that you're saying is right, and it still was annoying as like a person who's been a longtime fan of Spencer. Like I have stopped watching the show before and kept like a line on the story by like through watching like Cassadine clips. So like I'm like very familiar with that story. I'm very very familiar with like with the GH kids and like that quad of like how they grew up and like Spencer and Emma and Spencer and Joss and Cam and like all of that. Like I'm really like I don't know, like that like it holds a special place for me. And I think that like things always get retconned, but like stuff like that wasn't necessary, that was just like lazy writing, like no need to retcon just because you lazy.
Yeah, Spencer never wanted to be poor. Like that was not the issue. He was actually quite fine with his life. He liked being in control of his staff. Nicholas was there. It was that he didn't have a mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the issue.
Yeah, and it's easy to and it's easy to say like you didn't have a family unit. It's also easy to say, I mean, like you could have said that, Nicholas wasn't there the way that you wanted him to be, like I don't know, it just like wasn't it just like the dialogue wasn't it for me. And so now we're at a place with like Ace and that story that Spencer's already said that Esme is not the problem. So now like we are at a place with that story that it is that Spencer wants to be this thing to Ace that he didn't have. And that doesn't really have much to do with I don't trust Esme.
Yeah.
Because that was like if you listen to the dialogue, Trina was saying to like Portia or to Ava, whoever, like, oh yeah, he has to be around, or she's talking to Ava, like, he has to be around because of Esme, blah, 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 blah. Well, we know that's not true anymore. So this is like an example of them being on different waves because Spencer has said she's a good mom. Um, it also is like when was the last time we talked about her getting her memory back? When was the last time we talked about any accountability for her getting her memory back? Like, we know through storytelling devices, like the longer that we go without talking about that, the less likely it will be. So that even when she gets it back, they'll be like, well, she's been so great these last whatever amount of time. Like, how can we, whatever. And what does that mean? This whole idea of like continuing to ask Trina like how she feels about Ace is like, yeah, how you feel about Ace, but also how do you feel about having to see this bitch who like violated you? How does Jocelyn feel about having to see this girl who had her ass on camera?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, it's just they took it too far with her, and they're like trying to like they're not trying to do what they need to do to clean it up. They're just like, F it, we throwing it out. And so that's like one thing. And then the other thing I'll say about Sprina, and I want to hear what you think about this. I think it's a problem that like Trina is not getting like treated well. Like conversations and like being there for somebody is not actually, I mean, like Spencer's rich. You know what I mean? Like, why is it that like the dates and the whining and dining, like she had more that with Rory than she's had with Spencer? I would have loved for Spencer to have shown up with like the same way Portia showed up with like food. Hey, like, you want to take a minute? I got a picnic blanket. Let's like throw back to the first time that we were like that we had this, and like I got you an art book. Like, let's actually like see her being treated well on a date. I know that the video for the day of like the gallery scenes was like the one they put up, and I saw that people were happy with it. I was not happy with it at all. We get the angst. Where's the romance? Like, I don't, what is the problem? I'm not really clear as to like what is the holdup, what is the issue. Even like their whole time together, they were just like standing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when Portia comes in, we knew to sit them on the bench. Why weren't Sprina sitting on the bench and like holding hands or whatever, like whatever it is? Like, I don't know. It's just I'm not really clear as to what is going on with these characters and with this story. And I know that there's like this talk about, oh, maybe they're doing whatever to prep for Nicholas leaving. And a lot of what I wanted for Sprina was like very like Nim slash LNO2. That's what I originally wanted for them. And so when you think about like Liz and Lucky's story, they like ramped up when Lucky was about to leave. Like, you got like the peak of the romance. You got the peak of the things that are like legendary for them. You got the church wedding, and all of that was happening as Lucky was about to go. So like this idea that like they're kind of slowing things down because Nicholas might leave kind of doesn't, or like, might be gone for a bit, really does not make sense to me.
I mean, the biggest issue with Sprina is that baby. And the baby's very cute, like I understand babies need work too. And Like, and you didn't actually need the baby to make Esme salvageable. Like, I think they were like the only way people are gonna like forgive her is if, she has a baby. No, she has the serial killer gene and Kevin Collins as a goddamn uncle. And so all you really had to do was have her come out that water all and cold and shit, just knowing that Nicholas was keeping her in a tower. And once they found out that Ryan was her dad, Kevin would have done all the Esme apologizing that we needed. And she would have ended up in Laura's house and she'd still be the obstacle, but Spencer wouldn't have so much of an excuse to turn to her. And you can still do this dumb thing where he softens to her because now she's a better person, I guess. But then you can still have her plotting, except not holding a baby. And so, like, the baby's
They
the
needed that baby to
issue.
soften her. That's the thing that people talk about. She's a mother. She's a good mom. That's the thing that like people who have softened on her talk about.
But people were already softening towards her. They were trying to get Cameron to bang her. So that's the thing. And then they were all like, well, she's pretty with long hair, so give her a second chance. And so, like, people would have come around. And even if they didn't, like, Peter August was on our screens for 4 years. So, like, if we don't, us not liking something really means fuck all to Frank Valentini. And
Mhm.
so, like, they didn't need this baby. And if you're going to have a baby, and this is not what I'm saying I want, so before preempt these comments, but if you were going to do this baby line story, the baby actually should have been Spencer's to justify how much attention he's giving to it. Because that's the crazy part. Because even when you had a story where like a son took the baby from the father, the Sonny and Michael story, it was to get back at Sonny. It was to get back at Sonny. And like, yeah, Michael told himself he was gonna give her a better life than he had. But the whole point of that story was that Michael didn't have that bad of a life. Like, yes, he was shot in the head, but in the grand scheme of Corinthos things, it wasn't that bad.
Get
He
out of
learned
here.
how to learn how to drive a motorboat. Okay, he went to the island. He had a great time. He
Uh,
shot Kate
he
that one
also
time.
like kidnapped by AJ.
that that was that happens sometimes in a mob family. For mob families, it was pretty all right, and that's what he said. He was like, "It wasn't that bad. I love you, Dad." Um,
Get out of
and
here.
that's what you should have
I'm
had
done.
with this.
That's
This
what
is what I mean. If you're a normal human being and not a Corinthos, then it's a terrible childhood, right? But for a Corinthos, it was all right. Sonny was in the closet when he was Michael's age. He didn't have a speedboat. He wasn't going to the islands. He was in the closet. Okay. And so Michael had a better life. And that's what you needed to have Spencer doing. Like, oh, okay, I stole your baby. And then, I want to give it a better life. But then I realized I had servants and I was helping you plot. You faked your death. You got me a cell phone so I could keep in contact with you. It was mad fun. I had a great childhood. And that was supposed to be the story. But then you had Margulis, who's awful. And for some reason, they want to give the less awful Nicholas, Canadian Nicholas, a chance. And so now you just have him out here talking about minivans and like trying to raise a baby that he admits he can't raise. And it's stupid. And so that's why it was either make it Spencer's baby. Like I said, didn't want that disclaimer. Don't come at me in the comments. Or just not have a baby. Get rid of this baby.
I mean, I think the other piece of it, though, for me, is that baby daddies juggle girlfriends all the time. So, like,
Remember when Sonny had his wife and his baby mama and then his other baby mama in the hospital?
I do.
It was
Yes,
wild.
I
He
do.
had his wife and then his baby mama, and then he found out he had another baby mama whose baby had cancer, and now he needs to test all his babies
Juggle,
to save that baby.
juggling, juggling.
Like, they were like, this is going to be terribly painful for 1-year-old Morgan, but he's one, so we're going to do it. I was like,
Wild. But my point is, everything that you're saying about Spencer is right, and that does not mean that he couldn't. That does not mean that there's a choice not to write romantic moments in for them. There's a choice that it's only angst, no payoff. There's a choice. They could easily, in the same way they write that baby in the way, they could write that baby not in the way. They could have written that baby having a nanny. They could have written that baby having a bunch of different things. This is all a choice, and I'm not clear as to why they're making this choice. It's not good, and it's not enjoyable to watch, is what I'm saying. And so, and I'm not going to like say, I personally, if people enjoyed those scenes, I'm very happy for them. Like, I want people to enjoy things. I did not enjoy them. I want whining and dining. And then they also had him like come up dumb. Like, she was like, "Oh, we're writing the tombstones for the art pieces." And he's like, "What's that?" Spencer is a snob, an art snob at that. He knew what that was. What are we doing? Why are we writing him like he's some regular boy? He's not Kim. He's a prince.
I'm just saying we could have like baby Lila that baby, and then she had like a vendetta against Elizabeth.
Yeah,
She was
that
just like
would have been more interesting.
running around stalking Elizabeth because Nicholas is fake dead.
Yes, we
Could have
definitely
done so much.
we could have
I'm
done
just
that.
not a fan of babies. I think that's what it is.
We could have done a lot of things that were not this story because it's not good.
I don't even know where it's going because now she's like, "Ooh, what if we don't have Trina, and then we could be a family?" But then they don't lean into that. She's just calling from off screen, like, "You want dinner?"
And then he even named like maybe have dinner in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so why are you leaving? There's no like fight to like not do this or thanks for understanding, Trina. Thanks for understanding so I can go home to my family. It's not cute. It's ungood. We literally had, when Trina was in that other relationship with that guy who nobody liked, she was going to Comic Cons and having hotel stays and getting jewelry at restaurants. We're
She
not
like
even,
soda that one time.
huh?
She got a hot soda that one
Got a hot
time.
soda and she got a hot soda and a hard brownie. But guess what? More than Spencer's giving her. Like, there's no reason, even if you're gonna have the Esme like being in the way or being whatever, there's no reason she's not interrupting dates.
You need to like block Esme's number. You can unblock it when you're done being with your girlfriend, but you should not be able to take her calls. Like,
It's absurd.
no.
Get a nanny. Be rich. I want my girl getting jet set it off to Paris. For him to be like, we only have one afternoon, but I want to take you to Italy to have some pizza. And then go get that cast iron jet and take her.
That's
Like,
what happened in Red, White, and Blue. In Red, White, and Royal Blue. He took him to Paris. I was like,
he said, I want some crepes. Let's go. Like, there's just really no reason. Like, he is rich. And like these things that are very like signature to his character are not being done. He ain't even giving her art book back.
what does he do all day besides he just like kicks it with her at work, which is bum ass behavior. I need him to do
But with that
stuff.
baby,
Who is running Cassadine Industries? That's my question. Because Valentine's barely running ELQ. He hasn't been there in a month. Dante asked.
he's
He
not.
not no, who's running ELQ?
I'm not asking him. I'm not even gonna ask about ELQ, but who is running Cassadine?
Who's running Cassadine Industries? That's a business in this show. Like, and I remember because Nicholas was like, I'm gonna like frame Drew to save it. So no one is just there existing because Victor's dead. Valentine is fake running ELQ and maybe stalking Anna. Every other Cassadine is dead or comaed. And so why isn't he doing that? Put Spencer in a suit. I'm sick of him wearing t-shirts. Not t-shirt kids. It bugs me. It doesn't even look like one of those distressed $400 Gucci shirts. It looks like a regular Costco shirt. I don't like it. I saw people who made like little AI pics of him in a suit and he looked better. Put him in a suit. Like, I'm not a fan of AI, but if it gets him in
That
a
shit
suit,
scares me. You know I don't mess with AI.
the students in my students are all upset because they're like, oh my god, it counts as plagiarism if I use AI to write my paper. We're like, yeah, it does.
Yes.
They were really like, what do you mean?
I can't
Because
deal with
I'm not. They were like, you can't steal from a robot. I'm like, and yet you can.
what the hell. Okay. Let's get into before we get into hot takes, let's get into plot twist. So I was saying at the top of the episode, I've been into Alias and just like recently watched one with a huge plot twist. And it got me to thinking,
Oh.
what are some really good soap plot twists, GH or otherwise, that have gotten you? Because like I think that like as soap fans, we do anticipate a lot. So like I did not anticipate that Austin knew about Nicholas. That was like a lot of the Austin stuff was like stuff I didn't anticipate. So what
Recent.
are things that have like got caught you off guard, like plot twist on soaps?
I had to give it to him in 2022 because that was a rough year for GH. It was not great. And when we found out that Dex was working for Michael, whoo, none of us saw that coming.
Wait,
None of us.
now, damn, you're right. I didn't see that coming.
Because they kept beefing in the street. Like he was like, huh?
Yeah,
And he was like, and Dex was doing this like, your daddy loves me now. And it was like, oh, what's going on? And when they met up, you were ready for them to go fisticuffs again. And then all of a sudden he was all like, no one's going to find out I'm working for you. You're like,
that was a twist, and you know I was shipping it. So
and so that was for 2022, that was the twist because I did not see that come. I didn't know Michael had it in him.
that's right. I forgot about that twist too. Yeah, that was one. Um, the reveal. I mean, this is way back. The reveal of the text message killer got me. I was like, what the hell is this?
That was some shit where I was like, y'all just decided it was Diego.
Yeah. Because
Just
that's the thing about plot
decided.
twists. That's the thing about plot twists about like what is planned and what is something that y'all put together at the last minute. And like you can feel the stuff that's put together at the last minute. Like
Paul
Paul,
Hornsby. They had to go fix one of his murders because he couldn't possibly have done it, and that shit is hilarious to me. They had to make it Heather who stabbed Lucas.
yeah, because even the serial killer was like this last one, the hook was like super anticlimactic. Like
That didn't make any sense because it doesn't make any sense how Heather got out of Ferncliff to stab Ava because she got out of the other time because she was like, I'm injured, ooh, take me to GH, and that's how she was out. But beforehand, they just decided they were gonna make it that DA, that ADA, and then we figured it out, and they were like, no, never mind.
uh yeah.
Same with the Paul Hornsby thing. They were gonna make it some like Dr. Kevorkian storyline, and then we figured it out, and so they were like, no, we're gonna make it Paul Hornsby.
Weirdness.
Um, I'm trying to think about like, but that's what I'm saying. The show doesn't really do plot twists very well because like the plot twist is something you find out before. Like I guess like realizing that Sam and Alexis were mother and daughter, but even by the time they find out, we already knew.
Right,
Like
right.
we had already figured it out. And so it's interesting when they're able to pull off a plot twist that shocks the audience in the moment because as soon as there's like a way that they set up stories. Like you have like Alexis is looking for her missing child, and then Sam finds out her mom isn't really her mom, and then like we just guess.
Yeah.
Um,
That was the same thing that happened with like the Nina storyline and Willow and Nell, which is why it was so weird. Like Nell and Nina are or Nell and Willow are not twins. What are y'all doing?
They tried to make that's another situation where we guessed it was Willow and they're like, well, never mind, we'll make it Nell. And we're like, first of all, Nell was the child of Frank and Virginia.
Right.
Like that was their child. It wasn't an adopted child. Like that was their blood child. And then you decide, no, it's not. Then you decide, like, well, we're gonna have her be way older than Chloe Lanier is, which is already a mistake because they had her. The way that they did that storyline and retconned it to like right before Carly came to town, they essentially made her my age,
Right.
which is a mistake. Um, and then like that means that Nell is at least a decade older than Michael, which
Right.
means that Willow is at least a decade older than Michael.
Right. Which is
It's a
not true.
complete mistake. Like you could have kept it like you were in a coma for 20 years. You could have kept it like Michael and Willow the same age in the Soraz universe, not brought Carly into this whatsoever. And like Willow could still be like 26, 27 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that to your point, one of the reasons that GH doesn't do plot twists well is they don't plan out the plots.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I remember. I watched Days, and so when they had like everybody who was like killed by Marlena, who's like a fake serial killer, not really, end up on the island. Like it was just like very weird. So it was like a plot twist, but it was also like, what is this?
Yeah, that was their fucking Dallas moment.
Yeah.
He said the shower was a dream.
Yeah, it was like, and then like they did like Days. There was like an island, and like backwards, it was like called New Salem or something.
I
Anyway,
mean, Bob Guza, people hate him, and he always knew where a story was going. He was
always, which is why
never confused.
it's why he was always able to do the really good umbrella stories. Uh,
Hmm.
it's interesting because like we have been watching. We just watched like the Baby Lila story. I started watching some Sam Trick, so Sam and Patrick, and like that was like so involved because like the Sam Trick story was like Nicholas and Helena. Oh yeah, I didn't see the Duke mask thing coming.
Yes.
That was a plot twist.
That was Ron when he had first come to GH and he was in his Mitch Lawrence era
Yeah.
of shenanigans
Yes.
and stuff.
Yes. But I did not see that coming. I was like, what?
Days is full of masks now.
Ugh, not anymore, I don't think. But they were doing it, and they were doing too much of it. It was very unsettling. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, the Duke Bass thing. They sometimes they ruin surprises. So like they ruined the Robin's death storyline by telling us Robin was alive like 3 minutes after she died. I was like, why do you do that? You
Yeah,
like sucked all the emotion out of all of these. I still go back and watch it, and I still think everybody gave amazing performances. But it would have been like if Kimberly's not coming back for a year and a half, then don't tell us for like a year.
yeah, yeah.
Let us live in that.
Or at least let it be a little bit more time. Because I'm trying to remember when Lucky was in the fire thing, like we knew kind of right away, right? That Helena had Lucky.
Yeah, that she grabbed him.
Yeah,
And I get that that's what they're trying to redo, but I think it would have been more emotionally hefty for the audience
yeah,
to like leave it to chance and then have her pop back up, later on. That's more of a surprise. Like, I'm trying to think of like other times people surprise. I mean, like Alan dying in the Metro Court Hospice situation. I didn't think they were gonna kill Alan.
me neither. Me neither. That was crazy. Uh,
And like Jason not making it back because he busy trying to like go find Jerry Jackson shit. Like that was wild. Um, Emily dying.
yeah, I didn't see that coming either. But it was like because it was like they had just killed so many people. So it's like, okay, you killed Georgie. Yeah, it was they killed so many people. It was interesting.
It was really cause like it was a ball and she's just like dead on the floor in a white dress.
Yeah,
Like while Liz and Sam are slapping each other in the stables. Um
that was
she
iconic. What an iconic Liz Sam moment. Like, my lord. She was
that's when yeah, she found out about the baby.
Liz was like, "Oh, he didn't tell you? He told me because he trusts me." And Sam was just like, "You got Jason, I got your husband. It's
Bloop.
a fair trade."
That's
I
when
love
GH was good. Like that's the whole thing about like try to come on Sunday ship and be positive and stuff. Like, what's working? And this week I was like, nothing. Because it's not because we were watching so much old GH
that's
that
right.
like I had complaints about those storylines as I was watching them. And now I go back and I'm like, I didn't appreciate what I had.
Because it was giving for sure. No, I mean, I started talking and I got distracted by something popping up on my computer. What I was saying about the Sam Chick storyline was like, okay, so you had that, but you also had like the Nicholas and Helena of it all. You had the Elizabeth piece of it all. You had like this Jason, or you like the new Jason slash Drewson of it all. Then you had Sam and Patrick. Then you had Robin looming. Like, it was just like so many different Carly, she's such a big piece of that like story. Like, just so many things working in tandem that felt like not forced. Because I think that now with GH, what they do is they like just like force and they retcon everything. So like with this Christina Molly story, they're just like, well, let's just like retcon Molly some feelings about this. Or let's like just create beef between these two characters who you didn't really know had this beef, as opposed to like capitalizing on stuff that already there.
Their Molly and Christina is their attempt to make fetch happen. I
Seriously.
think Kate Mancy could be great. You gotta get her out the storyline. Like jumpstart this like youth center and then like actually do something with it. Don't have her just running around talking about a youth center and then we never see it. Um, but this whole like I'm upset you don't want to use my uterus and this baby's not going to actually be yours because you're not related to it conversation. This obsession with biology is driving me banana ramming. They literally had Matt say that like, and this is going back to what's not working. Mac, him being like, I just never had that feeling of being a father until I thought I was yours for 10 seconds, and I'm like, you raised three girls, three women, and now you've never felt like a father until this like horse manure like dusted bum showed up to town. That's what we're going with? Okay, sure. Christina's telling her sister that her baby's not going to really be her baby unless she's related to it, when she'll tell anyone who will listen that Michael is her brother. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and it's not, it's also just like not compelling. Because like if you remember the storyline where Liz like was carrying Courtney and Jax's embryo or whatever. Like, or no, was it Courtney and Jax's kid, or was it gonna be either way? Like, Jax was like always there and like so attentive, and then pushed like Courtney into having like this affair with Nicholas, and then Lucky got injured. Like, it was just like a million different things that happened as a result of that story. So it was like, yeah, this thing was happening, but again, it was like an umbrella to all of these other things like moving and pushing along. That is what we're missing with this story. It's like specifically about like, do you want your child to be your biological child, or like have some kind of like biological relationship to you? Terrible, terrible. It's a terrible story. And I don't feel bad for either of them. Like, I do feel like Molly is being shady by like not inviting Christina around, but I do not feel like she's wrong for not wanting this thing from Christina.
I'm
It is
also
weird.
very
I don't want you to carry my baby. It's not, it's because I don't want to owe you. It's because I don't want that. It's because I want to have some distance. It's because like it's not about personally you. And for you to take it personal is ridiculous.
Yeah, I also am very confused about her. Like they're using the egg from the surrogate.
Yeah.
That seems like a mistake.
That was Alexis's problem with it.
Yeah,
That was
like
Alexis, like, that's Alexis's whole thing, which like this is like your kid and you're giving it away. Like, how are you gonna do that? That is exactly what Alexis's problem is.
why aren't they getting a donor egg?
So like a donor egg and then having the surrogate carry it.
Yeah, that's what my friends, because my friends are two men. So they needed to get a don't the egg is what they needed, not the sperm. And so like that's what you do. Like they hired a surrogate and then they got an egg, like and they didn't really want the same like issue of like someone knowing that that's their kid. So they didn't want to ask one of their friends or family members, so they just got a donor egg. Like
Mm.
people donate their eggs.
Yeah, I think that, but I also think that like this sounds really messed up, but to streamline the process, that a lot of people do what Molly and TJ are doing.
And that's the problem. It's like she found out that like she thought she was. This is like what happens when men write a story. Like you could tell the male writers are writing this. Like she found out that she thought she was pregnant. She got a little bit excited. She found out she wasn't pregnant and that she probably wouldn't be able to be pregnant. And so before she could even register whether or not she was ready for a kid or wanted a kid, she found out she couldn't have one. And so she's like doing this weird, and it's very in character for Molly. This like, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it, and we're gonna fix it now. We're gonna get it now. And it's like, girl, what you need is not a surrogate. You need a therapist. You need a therapist. You need to sit with your feelings and like what you feel about the idea that like you will never be able potentially be able to have a kid.
Mm.
Like that's what you need to talk about because like you're so busy trying to fix it for TJ. Like, well, TJ needs to be able to have a kid of his own. Does he? Like, you never have a real conversation about this. It's just you and your feelings and them trying to like stream past this and give like Christina and Molly fake drama. Like the story is actually quite offensive to people who have fertility issues.
Mhm.
And that's what they don't seem to be understanding. Like they want to do these things and like lean on the fact like this is a soap, but then they also want to get super real with it. Like, oh well, let's be informative, like we were with the HIV story. Well, you don't have the range anymore, and you don't have the timetable anymore to give that the care it deserves. Like people forget that that storyline was like a year and a half of just watching Stone die slowly. They're just like, oh, we're gonna have Molly on, and then we're gonna not show her for like 3 months, and then she's gonna come back as a new actress, and now she's getting a surrogate who we also need to get to know, and they're having a baby. Like, no, you don't have the time, the money, or the range to tell that story. So just move on. Make Molly a day player. She's just someone we see every once in a while, and give Christina something to do with her brothers, who are firmly on the show cemented. Like if you wanted to lean, I'm never gonna like Christina, no matter who's playing her. So if you want to lean into her being pro Nina, then tell that story and have it be Sonny's kids at war. Michael versus Christina, Dante is the referee.
They're not gonna do
Do
that.
that. Which is ridiculous. It's so dumb.
I mean, so I don't disagree with you. I think that part of it is that they only bring people on when they have like some sort of story for them. And so that means that we don't have the opportunity to really like care about them or to like what I mean, like I think that there are people who care about Christina and Molly. I think that it definitely took a hit with the different actresses. But like we should have been seeing them. They should have been trying to have this baby. If we had to see Willow's cancer and pregnancy go all that time, then why can't we see this like story actually play out with Molly this time? Like of actually seeing them want a baby and then her not being able to have like, like let's actually play this out in a time that makes me care about this story. Because right now I'm just like, what is this? So like, and we could have been having Christina building out this like center, like that could have been what she was on screen doing. We could have had Molly on screen doing this other thing, and then we could have had them being in other people's stories as well. That has been, I think, what is missing. And so like they blame like, oh well, the pace, the this and the that. I'm not really convinced that that's true. Like I'm not convinced that like current soap fans are not okay with a slowed down story. I'm not really sure who told them that that was true. Um and I'm not saying every story being slowed down, but I'm saying like build a slow down story or like have a slow down story with other stuff built around it that's moving faster. But it just feels like they're not trying to like do that.
No, they'll turn one day into like a month and a half
Mm-hmm.
just to get through everyone's fucking storyline, and it's so dumb. You're just like, that's the reason why everything feels so truncated, because like they'll show Molly at the beginning of the month and then they'll show her again at the end of the month. It's the same fucking day. And you're like, I don't care about this. And like, one, that's even less time passing. Like, if you're gonna show her once a month, then like have the month actually pass,
Right.
and like we can get a catch up. Like, here's what I've been doing. Like, I've been looking for surrogates. I've been going to therapy. I've been all doing all this stuff. But like, literally, I remember when Betty was like getting the files off of Sunny's computer last week. It wasn't even August yet in Port Charles. We're still in July because like we've only moved like 3 days past 4th of July, and it's almost September.
Yeah.
Like, this is a problem. And so once you think about it like that, it's literally been 3 months since Molly found out she had endometriosis, and she's already like hiring bitches to have babies for her. Like, no type of dealing with this, no type of healing or clarity, just like it's a broken microwave. Find a new uterus to have this baby. Like, it's offensive. It's like this idea that like Gregory's gonna tell every single person except Chase because Chase is so pure and so innocent. What do you? Now Elizabeth's got to heal Finn with her vagina because Gregory's dying. So let's tell her. I was hoping Alexis would heal Finn with her vagina, to be honest. I don't like either of those characters, so it makes sense to put them together. I don't like Elizabeth, but like I also would like her to do her job. Go to work. Go work.
At least Alexis and Finn isn't painful to watch. Elizabeth and Finn are painful to watch. My God. But we have gone past plot twists and into hot takes. Do you have any other hot takes?
Yeah, this is a chaos episode of Sunday Shift. Nothing matters.
I'm getting us scared. We're moving through.
um hot take is that someone needs to dump a bucket of Febreze on Eddie Main. He just always looks like he hasn't showered in 70 years.
So when you said dump a bucket, where my mind went was the ice bucket challenge for ALS. And then it reminded me of when Lucius Lyons had ALS on Empire, but then he didn't have ALS.
There's a fly in here. It came out of nowhere. I had to fight it.
But yeah, Lucius Lyons didn't have ALS on Empire. And now I'm like, maybe Gregory doesn't have ALS on GH. All of
Maybe
that
just
went to me with the ice bucket. That's where my brain went.
him and this like old man ALS. There was nothing else to give him.
Especially like, let's tell a real story that's, I don't know, like this is like how I get annoyed with like the way they tell stories, just like the inspiration porn that Curtis needed of this person who seemed worse off than him coming in and like overcoming, and now he wants to overcome too. Like, please, get out of here.
He said he asked this man how he asked a man with no legs how to be happy without legs.
I hate it.
It's someone thought that was smart.
I hate it.
And he was like, you have Gregory, you brought it up earlier, but Gregory's like, I'm dying of a degenerative neuro disease. Let me give my wisdom to this kid who can't play his viola tonight. Really bummed. Like, maybe tomorrow you can play it and
It's
it'll be
shallow.
better. I'm just like, but that's not how ALS works. So this lesson means nothing. It's not like, oh, well, maybe you can play tomorrow, Gregory. Like, you're kind of on a downhill trajectory. So what? And then how are you guys planning on portraying this? It's not cancer where you just throw a raz on someone's head and like powder their eyebrows. So like, oh, I'm going through chemo. I'm looking really pale. Like, how are you doing this? It's
It's
the same thing with paralysis.
it's gonna be a mess. And there also is like something to the disease. Like, so if you choose to live on a vent, you could actually live for a long time. And so like, let's also like not try to shame people who have caretakers.
There is a fly in here now, and I don't know how he got in here, and it's very upsetting.
That has happened to me in the heat. I actually don't have many hot takes. I think I gave them all when we were talking. I talked about oh, I loved Cyrus's haircut.
He said he used like a prison shiv to give himself a fade.
And it was the
He
like
got.
most precise haircut ever with a shiv. Mm.
He said, "Jesus, take the wheel," and just closed his eyes, and that's what happened.
It was amazing. I loved it. What I did not love, Robert and Diane. Cannot believe Diane is getting played by this man. Girl, stand up.
What is Robert's function on this show?
Meanwhile, Tristan Rogers was like just like tweeted out a gif of him and Emma Sam's kissing as Robert and Holly. I was like, first
I
of all, it
mean,
wasn't a good kiss, so I was like, I can't believe that you are purposefully tweeting this out. But okay,
the man said he. This is what I want. This is what I want. And so,
but it's also like that man knows Holly's not coming back. So what are we even doing? Is he
as
actually
some
getting off?
listen, as
So then,
somebody who occasionally stands a man who hates his most iconic ship, and I know they're gonna come in the comments me about like it's Brenda and Sunny. Yeah, it was really iconic when he chose the mob over her for the 80th time. But like Four Weddings Carson, and he doesn't like it. He's just not a fan, and it sucks. And it doesn't stop me from liking it. And that's his opinion, you know. And I also like just shout out to Brit. I love Vanessa Marcel. I don't have any issues with Vanessa Marcel, and I love when she comes back on the show. I love hating her character.
I love her now.
Um,
I know.
it takes a lot for me to not want your character on the show. Like it takes a whole lot. Your character has to be A, doing something wild, like Gladys status. I'm like, we gotta unalive Gladys. Bonnie Burrows, you're a queen. I'm sorry, but Gladys gotta go. Or you gotta be duper irritating, like theater school. And so like even with like Cynthia Watros, like there's like this contingency of people on Twitter who like hate my fucking gut because I don't like Nina. And I've never once came out against Cynthia, and I've never once said she needs to go. But like, I don't like her character, and I'm gonna professionally hate on it every chance I get.
And it
And
sucks.
that's fine. But sometimes it's weird the way people take their hatred of a character onto the actor. Like, I never want to see that person again. Like, I don't give a shit. Holly on Fire was hilarious. It's iconic. She just on fire. And then
Talking
you
about
gotta
whether or not
imagine
people want to see her again. I'm saying that she's not coming back.
she could, you know, she came back that one time for somewhere in Greenland. She didn't do anything. She did fuck all. Um, but she came back. I would not care. I'd be like, well, I
I
like her more
don't
than Stable, baby.
I don't particularly care. I'm just saying like she's not like she will come back. What I'm saying is like, is he asking to be written off with her? Because we know that they're not gonna be back to some kind of like long-term romance.
I'd be fine with that too, to be honest.
Go
Bye, sir.
play with her and Ethan, play with her and Luke's baby.
I mean, Jen M gonna be mad at me. I still want that to be Robert's baby.
I
Luke don't
definitely
need
not.
a baby. Luke don't need any more beside babies, okay? Like he's a bum. We don't need him. We already have
I,
enough bum ass kids.
I love that baby being Luke's.
I don't want to.
Baby, I love that grown man being Luke's.
Shout out to Jen M, who still loves me regardless of the fact that we have like 90% opposing soap opinions, GH opinions.
Well, we do that all the time. We've disagreed so much on this show, like on just this episode. But it's still fun to talk to other fans. Well, when people allow it to be fun. Um,
I mean, because
I do also have another hot take. I forgot to say this about Sprina because I didn't have any notes. Part of what I think, like the writers, like I don't know, it's like something about Sprina that so much of what keeps people hooked on them, which is like very unfair to the actors, is like the interviews the actors have given. So like people are like, oh, they're soulmates. It's like, well, we are not seeing evidence on screen that that's true. What we're seeing is that these actors have said this is the way they're playing their characters. And we didn't record last week, but I know that it was like this whole thing about whether or not Spencer was like looking at Esme in her bikini. Um and folks were like talking about like, well, Nicholas Chavez is playing it this way, or Nicholas Chavez doesn't like this. And I submit to you that Bonnie Burrows actually fucking hates the way Gladys is being portrayed. So like I was like looking at, because I follow her on Instagram, and so like somebody had like came in her mentions talking about like what Gladys was doing to Sasha, and she was like, "Girl, I hate it too. What are we talking about?"
mm,
And
I
like
don't,
just because an actor hates what their character is doing doesn't mean their character isn't doing it.
yeah, but they didn't the GH account confirm that?
Yeah, I think so. But the GH account has like confirmed some bullshit before too. Like the GH account tried to make it seem like it was Jocelyn's fault that Esme like put out the sex video. Like they do a lot of stuff. I'm not saying whether or not, I'm just saying that in general, like GH has to stop depending on the way fandoms see characters and actors and couples and actually write for them in that way. Um,
I also think that it's like you can check somebody's body, yada yada yada. I mean, not that sis, I feel that she's got a all right body, better than me. You can check that out without being in love with them. That's the different part of your brain and different fucking chemistry. It has nothing to do with him wanting to like run off and marry this hoe. Like There's plenty of people in this world. Like Antonio Sabato Jr. can burn in hell, and so can his character Jagger Cates. And I'll admit, in 1993, he was attractive. It's fine. Both those things can be true. Like he could be like, this bitch can burn in hell, and she look all right. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you want to leave your girlfriend.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even mean that. I just mean that as an example. I think that like just because an actor doesn't want to do something, like we cannot, or I cannot personally hold on to that as like a means to say that their character isn't doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I was the second point to it that like one one what do people expect these actors to say? Like, I feel like everybody should go watch Galaxy Quest. Have you ever seen Galaxy Quest? It is an excellent movie with like Tim Allen, whatever, and the late great Alan Rickman and Sigourney Weaver, and they play the like actors of this like Star Trek type show that no one watches anymore, and it's off the show. But they go to a lot of conventions because like they have diehard fans, and like the way they have the convention set up, it's very much giving like GH meet and greet type stuff where like people love this show and they like watch it and they talk about it with their friends and people who love it too, and they read so much into it and they have a million theories and a million ideas, and every look is there's a symbol behind it, and every like line has like a double meaning, and they'll like go to the actors and ask them and they'll be like, yeah, sure, 100%, 100%, you know, because they're just there to like get paid, like they're happy. I mean, they do it on that is a little more extra where they're like very jaded, you know, they're older actors whose career isn't going the way they wanted, so they have different things going on. The soap stars, like, you know, they're happy to be there, but they're also like a one part of how this show gets made. They're the part that brings it to life, right? They're not the people who create it, and they're very much being told what to do. Like, you have a director who's specifically there to tell you what to do, to direct you on how your character is supposed to do it. And so, like, that's what's happening. Like, the actor's going to do whatever the director tells them to do. And at the same time, when they're standing in front of a fan who's like bright eyed and bushy tailed, telling them how much they love their character, telling them how much they love this pairing, and having to reconcile with the fact that like a story may not be going the way you yourself had imagined it, what's the actor supposed to do when they can't tell you where it's going? They can't be like, calm down, it's gonna be fine. Like, I mean, they can, but like you run the risk. And then like you can't just be like, well, it's just my job. Like, this isn't that serious. And so you just end up being like, sure, yeah, I was given signals, whatever. Like, I just immediately go back to my original point is that like even if his true love is Trina, it doesn't mean that he's dead inside. It doesn't mean that he wouldn't find other people physically attractive. He can still want that bitch to burn in hell. Like, and you look good in your bathing suit, girl. Go burn in hell in the bathing suit. It's just a weird sort of thing when you're like looking to these actors who this is their job, right? Like this is their job. They film it and they let it go, right? We filmed it, let it go, make room for the next script. They want to give people an experience in a moment and to make them feel like they're a part of it too. But like there's honestly very limited shit you can get from an actor.
I agree with everything you're saying. It wasn't my point, but I agree with what you're saying. My point is that I think that the show has to stop leaning on not just the fandoms. I think the show does it too, and like leaning on these like interviews and stuff that like fans give like that they give to like Soap Opera Digest or whatever, because at the end of the day, like the show has some control over that stuff. So when they're like, we're soulmates, we're this, we're that, it's not enough for you to allow them to say that in Soap Opera Digest. You actually have to play that out on screen, and that's really big, like the bigger part of my point. That I think so much of what it's just like, okay, go tell this soap publication this thing and like appease people without like actually doing the work of like writing a story to appease people.
Yes.
But that's the end of my hot takes.
I have one more hot take, and then we can go what's happening next week. LOL. As Sonny Corinthos gonna have to wear. He's gonna be in a burgundy tux to walk down the aisle for a snitch ass bitch. Love it. He can never take that back. They put on a burgundy tux for some hoe who would talk to the fucking feds. Like she's Brenda Barrett in 1997. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
I love it. Keep doing it. Sona rising before it falls. Next week, I will tell you what is happening next week. I don't know if you are going to be able to look forward to it.
Oh man, probably not.
All right. Elizabeth comforts Finn.
Woo!
Ella counsels Curtis. Christina seeks out Alexis. Carly presses Diane. Lucy confronts Martin.
Like a million characters in Monday's episode. Okay.
Tuesday, Jackson Montgomery returns. Cyrus probes Drew. Okay. Gladys is in a pickle. This is all from TV Guide. I don't know what they're doing over here. Brick and Sunny put their heads together.
I need Brick to not be on this show. Continue.
Stephen A. Smith is just like, whatever you need me, I'm there. He's just showing up whatever.
I don't even know what he does.
Tracy creates a stir. Wednesday, Lucy is blindsided. Dante tries to visit Sasha. Cody puts on a show. Selena is foiled. Nina gets shocking intel. So we know from Soap Opera Digest that Gladys is going to go to Nina next week to ask for money. And she's going to pretend like it is for Sasha. So one of the things that happened last week was her being like talking to the deception people, like she needs it for her insurance or whatever. Like she needs it for like because her doctors. I'm like, if Ferncliff is court ordered, but far be it from me to believe anything good of the jail system. So maybe she doesn't have to pay for it. Anyway, Thursday. Diane's curiosity is piqued. Brooklyn lashes out. Chase makes a proposition. Spencer confides in Alexis. Ava is frustrated. And finally on Friday, the 1st of September, Olivia tries to jog Eddie's memory. Chase makes a strong case. Jocelyn opens up to Carly. Brooklyn voices her doubts. Nina visits with Wiley.
She's gonna confess more to that baby.
Right? We cuddling up like, grandma snitched on other grandma, and now Uncle Drew's in jail. What is grandma gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Maybe she'll tell Amelia. She can't talk yet. Wiley look like he got the snitch gene.
He do look like he snitched. It's like Quartermain side. Okay. Well,
except Nina Reeves side.
That's true. Damn snitches on both sides. Thank y'all for sticking with us, for listening. We will be back with Tanya next week. And Tara, thank you so much for stepping in and giving us so much fun and laughter this Sunday.
Always a pleasure.
See y'all next week.
Bye.